Hello everybody, Shrouded Hand here. Today I want to explore one of England's most disturbing legends, the tale of Black Agnes. Just on the outskirts of Leicester, there's an area called Dane Hills. It's quite built up today, covered in sprawling housing estates, but at one point in time it was an undulating land of hills and valleys covered in a dense woodland. As Leicester expanded, the forest was gradually cut away to make room for farmland, but one grand oak still remained in place. Beneath this oak was a small cave known locally as Black Agnes Bower. Descriptions of Black Agnes vary, but most accounts say that she was a terrifying hag-like creature. She had blue skin and one eye. On her hands were long, razor-sharp metal claws. It's what she did to her victims that set her apart from other bogeyman-type entities. You see, she had a taste for children. She would hide in the branches of that old oak till a child walked underneath, and then she would pounce. Other times she would snatch children from their beds in the night, reaching through their windows with her long clawed hands. Once she had her victim in her clutches, she would skin them alive with her razor-sharp claws and hang their flesh from the oak tree to dry. She would slowly eat the skinless, twitching victim. Afterwards she would hang their dried skins in her cave as decoration or wrap them round herself as clothing. An early account of Black Agnes comes from a poem written in 1794 by Lieutenant John Herrick. He was from Leicestershire's Yeomanry Cavalry and he had an interest in local history and folklore. He wrote, "'Tis said the soul of mortal man recoiled to view Black Agnes's eye so fierce and wild. Vast talons foul with human flesh there grew, in place of hands and features livid blue, glared in her visage, whilst the obscene waste warm skins of human victims close embraced." The poem apparently was written in all earnestness. John Herrick, an honest and serious man, believed fully in the existence of Black Agnes, and he was drawing on local knowledge for his poem. Title deeds from 1764 show a plot of land called Black Agnes Bower Close, so we know the legend existed long before Herrick wrote his poem. The origins of Black Agnes seem to be lost in the mists of time. Some historians have speculated that she could be Agnes Scots. Agnes Scott died in 1455 and a memorial brass for her can be seen at St Leonard's Church in Switzerland. The plaque is written in a medieval Latin which the church translates as, "Enclosed in this tomb lies Agnes Scott, called the devout mother of Lady Ferrers. Whoever thou shalt be, you shall pass by. Pour out thy prayers, I beg. I am what thou shalt be. I used to be what thou art. Pray for me, I beg, pray." A lot of sources claim that Agnes Scott was a Dominican nun that ran a leper colony at Dane Hills, and she lived an ascetic life of prayer and solitude in a cave in the woods. The fact that she worked in a leper colony probably made her a bit of an outcast, and her black nun's habit is why she became known as Black Agnes. I can't really find anything to back this up. Perhaps I'm just not looking in the right places, but there doesn't seem to be much information about the life of Agnes Scott apart from what's written on that plaque. It also seems strange that someone who lived as a hermit in Dane Hills would be famous enough to be memorialised in a church a few miles away from that area. In 1622, the historian William Burton wrote about Agnes Scott's plaque, and he said that he guessed she was an anchoress that lived in a cave and tenuously linked it to Black Agnes Bower. It seems to me that this flimsy link between Agnes Scott and Black Agnes have been embellished over the years. I don't know where the story about the Dane Hills leper colony came in. Maybe there is some truth to it, but I've been unable to find it. Most likely the Black Agnes legend has been around for much longer than Agnes Scott. Every year a mock hunt was carried out, starting at Black Annie's bower. A dead cat soaked in aniseed was dragged behind a horse, and dogs and horses chased after it. Black Agnes is also known as Cat Agnes. She seems closely associated with felines, and some tales claim that she can shapeshift into a giant black cat. This name might even come from the aniseed-soaked cat used in the mock hunt. Cat Agnes, aniseed cat. Nobody really knows where that hunt tradition started. Some scholars have suggested that it might have been part of a pagan ritual. If so, is Black Agnes a pre-Christian entity? There's been some suggestion that Black Agnes is connected with the pagan earth goddess Anu, also known as Anna, Danu or Anan. Again, I think the link here might be a bit tenuous. Apart from the names being similar, Anu doesn't seem to share many similarities with Black Agnes. If anything, Calach from Celtic mythology seems a much more likely candidate. Calach, the goddess of storms and winter, appears as a black-clad crone with one eye and blue skin. Her clothing is adorned with human skulls. Others have tried to link Black Agnes with the Hindu goddess Cali. Bloodthirsty Cali is often depicted with blue skin, wearing a necklace of human heads and a skirt of human arms. Again, the link is flimsy, but it's interesting to note how this image of a blue-skinned woman that wears adornments made from human body parts appears in various cultures that seemingly have no link. If Black Agnes really did start life as a deity, at some point she became much more of a mortal entity, one that needed shelter and sustenance. Belief in this Black Agnes creature persisted well into the 20th century. In Ruth Tong's book, Forgotten Folktales of the English Counties, she writes the stories told to her by children evacuated from Leicester during the Second World War. One child told her that the cottages in Leicester were built with small windows so that Black Agnes couldn't get in. They were also built with the fireplace in the corner of the room, well away from any windows, because in olden times the family would have to huddle around the fireplace to sleep on cold nights, and if they slept in the middle of the room, Black Agnes could reach in with her long arms and snatch the children as they slept. They also said that people used to hang witch herbs in their windows to keep her away, and that the grinding of her teeth could be heard from miles away, sending frightened people running into their homes to lock their doors. So, where is Black Agnes today? According to John Herrick's 1794 poem, she eventually died of old age. Another tale says that as Agnes was chasing two children, their father came out of his house and killed her with an axe to the face. I don't know, would it really be that easy to kill an ancient evil like Black Agnes? That old oak tree is chopped down now, and the cave entrance was filled in long ago. Apparently it's in someone's back garden in the housing estate next to Western Park. Creepy to think that someone is living with the home of a demonic cannibal hag in their garden. There's rumours that the cave was really an entrance to a deeper network of tunnels that connect all the way to Leicester Castle, where Black Agnes is also thought to haunt, especially the cellars and Prince Rupert's Gate. Here she lurks after dark to pounce on unsuspecting passers-by. Andrew James Wright, in his book Haunted Leicester, says that a security guard saw a black mist moving into the gateway, and a photographer saw the swishing of a long black garment disappear behind a wall when nobody had been there moments before. Could this be the spirit of Black Agnes still hanging around her old haunts? And finally, I want to consider another possibility, a little theory of mine. Black Agnes, also known as Cat Agnes, was said to be able to transform herself into a giant cat-like beast. So what if she wasn't a woman at all, but a big cat loose in the wilds of Leicester? There have been multiple sightings of a panther-like creature in that area, so much so that there used to be a website dedicated to logging these reports. Although it's not updated since 2014, it still provides a wealth of interesting sightings. A 2013 article in the Hinckley Times tells of a couple seeing a large black cat on Rappy Lane. In April 2020, a dog walker walking along the Great Central Railway encountered a large black cat that was bigger than his 51-kilogram dog. In February 2021, a dog walker in Castle Hill Country Park filmed a large black creature dragging another animal into the bushes. Admittedly, the footage is pretty grainy, but he says it looked like a huge black cat. Putting all these sightings on a map, along with the location of Black Annis Bower, and maybe a pattern starts to emerge. It is unlikely though. There would need to be a breeding population living in a dense suburban area for all these years without being caught, nobody ever finding a body or getting a clear picture of one. Still though, there are enough reports to make the idea a compelling one. Whether Black Annis was a killer cat, a cannibal demon, an ancient pagan deity, or just a hermit woman that lived in a cave, the legend endures to this day. Perhaps it doesn't hold the same power it once did, but maybe she's just lying in wait, biding her time until some unsuspecting gardener excavates a cave in his back garden. I've always liked this hag archetype. When I was a kid, one of my favourite books was this, Monstrosities. This picture of an old witch and the disturbing poem that accompanied it always gave me the creeps. I think since then I've always had an interest in the idea of a creepy witch that lives in the woods, so naturally the tale of Black Annis intrigued me. Anyway, enough rambling, that is the end of the video. Check out this, a new beanie has been added to my merch store. I'll put a link below the video. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon. If you like this video, then check out my playlist of creepy folklore stories. There should be a link on screen now. Until next time, goodbye.